Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a tour of my new mouse enclosure. So this is my new enclosure for my mice and it's an IKEA Linnmon, and this is a DIY enclosure made from bits and pieces from IKEA, and it's around 877 square inches of floor space. Now, I didn't film the whole process of building this because there's such a great video by Vanilla Ham Ham, and that's what I used to help me build this, and I'll link all of her videos in the description. Also, thank you to my family for letting me borrow their time and their tools because I'm pretty useless when it comes to DIY. So this enclosure is going to be home to my 5 mice, and ideally I probably would stick to about 4 mice at a time, but most of my mice are quite elderly, so the numbers will fluctuate from time to time, but ideally I probably wouldn't keep more than 4 or 5 mice in this enclosure. But if you're confused about why I've switched from using the D12 over to this enclosure, I did make a whole lengthy video talking in length about my reasonings for switching, so I'll leave that linked in the description. You guys can go and watch that before this video and understand a bit better about why I wanted this enclosure instead. So as I said, this enclosure is an IKEA Linnmon. This is made from 3 IKEA Linnmon tables that are around 100 by 60 centimetres. The bottom is 1 table, the 2 sides are 1 table split into 2, and then the back is also an IKEA Linnmon too. Now, the front glass panel is from the IKEA Hemnes range, and this is just attached with some hinges. It fits pretty well, it does overhang a little bit, and it is a little bit bigger than the table, but overall I think it looks really nice. So I've actually got the whole thing rested on an IKEA Lack coffee table. This is the 118 by 78 centimetres. It's not a perfect fit, I just wanted something that was relatively low down to the ground, and a coffee table works perfect for that because I didn't want to have too much difficulty reaching in, because I'm not the tallest person in the world, reaching in to get the mice or to clean out. If I was to get a chest of drawers or something, I feel like it would have been a bit too high off the ground, so a coffee table works perfect. It's not the best fit, there is a big gap at the back, but I can always use this to store things and I could always get something different in the future. So the lid itself is just 4 pieces of wood and some mesh and some hinges. Again, Vanilla Ham Ham has a really good video on how to make a lid for this enclosure, but I had such a hard time finding all the pieces. I didn't expect it to be this hard, but the mesh itself was the hardest thing to source. So for mice, you don't want to go too much above about 0.9 centimetres, just because mice can easily squeeze through a gap that's about 1 centimetre, and I think the gaps I've got on mine is about 0.5 centimetres, which makes things really difficult to hang. I have to use really tiny clips, but it stops them from escaping, which is the main thing. I think if I was to do this again, in hindsight I would add another piece of wood into the middle. This would make finding sheets of mesh so much easier, but also give it a bit more support because it is a little bit floppy in the middle. So for the bedding, I'm actually using a combination of 3 different types of bedding. The main one is the hemp. Now this is a brand called Hemperade. You can get this on Zooplus, I'll leave a link to it in the description. And then I've also mixed in some of the Naturals KT Clean and Cozy, and also a considerable amount of hay as well. So I just wanted them to have a bedding with a bit more texture. This is going to hold their burrows so much better than just the hemp by itself, because the hemp is pretty useless when it comes to that, and so far it's working pretty good. So I think in some places in total I'm able to give them about 7 to 8 inches of bedding, which is so much more than they can have in the D12. To be honest, I probably could give them a bit more if I wanted to, but it's so much better being able to give them so much more bedding to dig in. So if we start at the left, on the bottom we have this PVC pipe. Now this is a whole tunnel system that goes all the way under the enclosure and pops out somewhere in the middle. I'll show you that in a second, but I've just made this little peephole at the front, and I think it's really cute because you can see the mice using the tunnels and you can see them going in there. So starting at the left hand side of the enclosure, I have their water bowl. I do give them a combination of water bowls and water bottles, which you'll see later on in the cage store, but this is just propped up on a piece of slate. Now this is resting on the PVC pipe below it, just to make sure it doesn't sink into the bedding if they're digging and it doesn't land on their heads, but I've got this rested on some slate, and then next to that is a really big cork log. And then above that we have this handmade toy made for us by Clyde's Critter Climbers. This has a pinecone on, which makes it my favourite. I think it's so cute, and if you guys want any handmade toys for your pets, whether it's rats, mice, hamsters, whatever you've got, I'll leave their Facebook and their website linked in the description. Then next to that we have this pumpkin, which is just left over from Halloween. If you guys haven't seen my Halloween video where the mice eat a pumpkin, I'll leave that linked in the description. It's very, very cute, but I thought I'd add this as enrichment, and it also just adds a pop of colour to the enclosure. And then around that I've placed some of the foraging mix and the foraging items as well. Hanging above that is this wooden suspension bridge. I've used this with my mice for years and they love it. This is actually something we sell in my online store, which is going to be a common theme with this video. A lot of things in this video you can actually get in my store, so the link to that, as always, is going to be in the description. Then at the back of the enclosure we have the first of their wheels. This is a wooden wheel from Zooplus, and this is the 8-inch wheel, I think, and I've plastic coated this. I've done a couple of layers, about 2 or 3 layers of plastic coat, just to protect it from their pee. So this is actually rested on a wooden file from IKEA, and again this is plastic coated, and this is just there to stop them burying the wheel, and it also gives them somewhere else to hide as well. And then above that is the first of their water bottles. This is just attached using industrial Velcro, and I swear by this, if you have a tank or a DIY enclosure, industrial Velcro is a lifesaver for attaching things like water bottles. Then moving on, at the front we have this wooden tunnel. I've just buried this in the bedding and then popped in some foraging things. I think the brand is called Naturals Forest Harvest. Not entirely sure, but we do sell it on the store, so there's a bunch of different seeds and flowers and things for them to forage in, and I thought it'd be really cute if I popped them into this wooden log. Next to that we do also have this bendy bridge, which I've just put some cat grass in. I've used the cat grass to kind of block any of the holes, just to make sure they don't get their feet stuck in the gaps. Then we also have this wooden caterpillar chew. They probably won't give this too much attention, they'll probably just bury it in the bedding, but I think it's cute, so I wanted to add it in. And again, this is something we do sell on my store. Then next to that we have this wooden hide from Zooplus, and this is actually covering up the exit to the PVC pipe tunnel system, just because the pipes don't look the cutest and I wanted to try to hide them. Then hanging from the top of the enclosure is this hay tunnel, which again I sell on my store, and I've always had this on the base of the enclosure and they really seem to love it, but this time I wanted to try hanging it from the top, and I've done this using string, which probably is not going to last very long once they realise they can chew this, but it doesn't matter too much if it does fall down because it's not too heavy or anything, so I've always wanted to try hanging this up and I've finally done it. Then right at the back we have another toy made for us by Clyde's Critter Climbers. This is kind of like a hybrid between a tunnel and a bendy bridge, but they really like this. They like to sit in this and chew it. As you can see, they've already done quite a job on the beads chewing them, so they really love this. And below that we have another cork log. This just has a few different types of sprays and seeds for them to forage. Then directly in the middle is this wooden house, which we sell in my store as well. I like this because the lid comes off, which makes it easily accessible, and also the bottom is not solid wood, so it's not going to get too damaged with their pee. So moving on over to the right hand side of the enclosure, I have this section divided using a piece of wood, and ideally I would like to use this section as like a dig box and do like a half-half cocoa soil section, but I can't get my hands on any cocoa soil at the moment, so maybe in the future when I do that I'll do like a half-half dig box for them, but right now I just have all of the other bedding, and then I've also put some more hay in there too. Then on the right side at the front we have this willow tunnel, which has seen better days. That's why I've buried it in the bedding, because it doesn't look the nicest. I didn't want this on display, but it's also going to be really good for giving them a head start with their tunnels, and you can also kind of see them in this too. I've also put various different types of cardboard structures beneath the bedding just to reinforce this and give them a bit of a head start when it comes to burrowing, which you guys obviously can't see, but there's a few different cardboard structures beneath the bedding as well. We also have this piece of wood at the front, which I think is really nice to climb on. I don't entirely know what type of wood it is, but it's there. Then we just have the second wooden wheel, again the same as the first one, and I've got this one rested on a bendy bridge, which isn't as effective in keeping the bedding off, but it should do for now. Then we also have this wooden climbing frame from Zooplus. This is just next to the wooden divider, which you can't really see in this clip. Right above that we have a hay ball, similar to the hay tunnel but a bit smaller. Again, we sell this on my store, and I've just attached this again with string. Then right in the back corner is another water bottle, and then also this hide, which is kind of a mix between a house and a set of stairs, but I've used this as their main hide just because it's a really decent size for 5 of them, and inside of here is some shredded tissue paper. Then on top of that we also have a few chew toys. We have a Cecil carrot chew toy, which I sell on my store, and then also a teacup chew toy, which again I sell on my store, you know the drill. And then right at the back we have some more of the foraging mix, which is just various different types of grasses, seed type things. I'm not really a plant expert, so I'm not entirely sure what they are, but I thought they looked cute shoved right at the back. Lastly, of course, we do have these ropes in the enclosure, and I think these are from eBay, and they're like sisal, I can never say that word, but these are really good for them to climb on. I did consider possibly attaching some nails or something, but I've just attached these to the lid for now using zip ties, and that seems to work fine. Then at the top we also have this foraging toy. This was handmade for us by Aurora Rattery. We do sometimes have this on the store. I don't think it's in stock at the moment, so if you'd like one for your mice you will have to go and message her and ask her for a custom one. So yeah, that is it for my first setup in my new enclosure. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and of course with the tour now done, it's finally time to add the mice back in, and I'm so excited to see their reaction. So that is it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I hope you like the new enclosure. Before I go, I did want to say a big thank you to all of my channel members and all of my channel members that have joined recently. Your support means the world and it helps my channel so much, and it's a place to go for updates on new pets or if anything exciting happens, which admittedly is not that often, but you guys are always there and I'm really grateful for your support. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!